Meanwhile, while industry players in the meetings, incentives, conventions and exhibitions sector welcome the move to increase capacity limits at MICE events, some are concerned about the additional cost, like the need for more manpower to implement safe management measures and signage to keep participants in their respective zones.
Pre-event testing is a must for some events, but organizers believe that the cost will not be a huge hurdle for business attendees since nominal costs are usually absorbed into operating expenses.
Well, to recap, from April 24th, up to 750 attendees are allowed at larger MICE events, an increase from the current limit of 250 participants. Now, all of them must undergo the pre-event testing, except for local residents who've completed the full COVID-19 vaccination regimen and have had a further 2 weeks from the second dose to develop sufficient protection.
Meanwhile, for smaller events with up to 250 attendees, testing isn't required for all local residents. The cohort size of 50 people per zone will apply for both types of events.
Since the launch of the Singapore Tourism Board's Safe Business Events Framework last July, close to 60 events hosting over 7,000 participants were held here in Singapore, with no COVID-19 cases reported. Let's discuss this further with Aloysius Orlando, President of the Singapore Association for Conventions and Exhibitions, Organisers and Suppliers. So from the 24th, the number of attendees allowed will rise threefold, from 250 to 750. Is that a significant increase to you when it comes to organising MICE events? Are there many changes that need to be made from the current SOPs?
This step-up approach of increasing capacity from 250 to 750, it's really to ensure that we put in place the rigor of practice for MICE players to adjust to the new normal of safe events, construct and conduct. And what we hope is that the insights and learnings as we go through these enhanced or enlarged capacities will help to support further adjustments of safety protocols so that we can embark on increased capacities in the months ahead with confidence.
Well, Aloysius, permitting more physical attendees could be taxing, especially for smaller event companies with less resources. Do you think it's cost effective for them to up their capacity limit?
I think that as what we have gone through in the pilot events, it gives us the opportunity to size up what are the safe management protocols that have to be in place, and what would the economics of a event in a COVID-safe environment look like. And that's why it's important that organizers take full advantage of this calibrated approach to enlarging the capacities to really better size what is the business model moving forward. The jury is still out as to what will define a sustainable and profitable event in a COVID-safe environment. So if we do not try and do not experiment, we will not be any wiser as to how that will turn out to be. Indeed, we will need to bear in mind there will be additional costs because of safe distancing, because of testing, and because of the limited capacity. But we also have to bear in mind that there is also the digital dimension to events. So when we talk about the digital and physical dimensions of events, otherwise known as hybrid events, what will that business model look like? And that's why we hope that as the numbers get recalibrated, we want to see where could the new drivers of revenue be? How can we better optimize the costs of conducting those events?
Aloysius, in the last few months, we've seen efforts to help the MICE industry. For instance, the setting up of Connect at Changi, as well as the continued facilitation of hybrid events. What's been the feedback from your association members so far?
I think this year has been, at least the past year has been certainly unprecedented, and it's challenging for all of us. But I think we remain resolute in our commitment to being a trusted and innovative business partner. And I think that's the hallmark of what the MICE industry here in Singapore has to be, especially in these evolving circumstances. And so we are looking at testing and piloting new innovative solutions that prioritize public health and safety without, of course, compromising on memorable event experiences. And Connect at Changi is one of them. So we have certainly ambitions to continue increasing the quality of our experiences for event attendees and international exhibitors visiting Singapore, assuring them a business-friendly environment, and of course, bolstered by a safe and hygiene-first MICE infrastructure.
Well, let's hear your thoughts on, the participants. Some have gotten used to hybrid events already. So what is in it for these participants who will be allowed to physically attend these events from April 24th?
As the capacity increases, we should see more and more curated programs being formed and being developed to bring this about. In the digital space, we also have to bear in mind that as the capacities increase, the travel and border restrictions will also take its time to be relaxed. And the only way that others beyond our shores can participate, and if they can't come physically, is to be engaged digitally. So I think the organizers of events have to bear in mind how do they flex the dimensions of digital and physical so that they can cater to those who are physically present as well as those who are going to be present digitally, such that they can foster that exchange as well as the business partnerships that they are trying to forge.
Well, Aloysius, thank you so much for joining us today. We've been speaking with Aloysius Orlando, President of the Singapore Association for Conventions and Exhibitions, Organizers and Suppliers.